Hello there, beautiful people of the internet. In today's daily update, we're going to go over a flurry of news items and take a look at the charts. But as always, this is Brandon with Crypto Trades and Tech, and this is not financial advice. If you end up listening to my advice, you'll inevitably end up living in a van down by the river. So with that out of the way, let's get to the news. First of all, we see here the big news was that Visa is going to support transaction settlements in crypto, namely in USDC stablecoin, which is a boon for Ethereum mainly. And Crypto.com is the first company to test this new capability. Crypto.com is tightly partnered with the credit card processing companies, so this is not surprising. And you see here that USDC also supports two other blockchains, Algorand and Steller. Algorand is a very fast blockchain, so part of the reason for their pump there as well, since they're tied in with USDC. Lately, their price has done fairly well. All right, in other news, the pro baseball team, the Oakland A's, who shout out to my father-in-law. It's his favorite team. It's been his favorite team since he lived in the Bay Area in the 40s. But they're a pretty progressive organization here. If you've ever seen the movie Moneyball, they plan to sell tickets in Bitcoin, and they're going to hold the Bitcoin. They're not going to convert it to fiat. They're going to hold it, which is the big news, really, is that they're going to hold. So they're going to build up their own Bitcoin reserves, basically. Now, there was another article out here recently from, wasn't an article, but a Bloomberg analyst said that he sees that Bitcoin can reach 400,000 in 2021 as a risk-off reserve asset, which is interesting because that's the same target a lot of us have been looking at the upper end. And then we see here as well, PayPal launches crypto payments in 29 million merchants. So the bullish news just keeps on going. Lots of news here. Another one, CME Group set to launch micro Bitcoin futures. I believe this is 1/10 of a Bitcoin. That's going to start May 3rd. And interestingly enough, Bitcoin has passed up Canada's money supply, M1 money supply. So Bitcoin is worth more than Canada, apparently. All right, for more tech-oriented people here, there's been some news from the graphics card makers when it comes to crypto mining, AMD and NVIDIA. NVIDIA was doing some things to restrict crypto mining on some of their cards, and AMD is not going down that route, they say. But what they're doing is they're really optimizing the cards for gaming. So they're trying to build some unique elements that will really help the cards perform better in gaming than in crypto mining. So all right, let's hop over to some charts and take a look at some price action here recently. So I had this this consolidation pattern here. This was kind of a bull flag. There's a bunch of different ways to draw this consolidation pattern, mostly as a bull flag. We've broken out of that, and namely, we've broken this key level that we identified with Heath here. We had two of them. There was one down here at the live stream I did with Heath the other night. So we broke out above that, put us back on this bullish path, put us back above this trend line. We've broken this other one here. This is our last key area of resistance before we enter price discovery. If we can break and hold all these levels, we'll be firmly bullish. For now, in a low time frame, you can see here that Bitcoin, I posted on Twitter, a lot of us saw this bull flag consolidation pattern, and look at this perfect breakout of the bull flag, came back to test it and resume. So there was a nice entry right there for you. I personally did not catch that. I was going to have an order in, and I did not. But my last order was right here, so I do have one order on that kind of consolidation pattern, but I didn't get that second one coming out of this price action. But I'm now we're watching here, we're probably, again, this is going to end up being some sort of consolidation pattern. I would imagine maybe a flag or a pennant or something. We'll see how this ends up consolidating and what happens from here. We'll just keep watching it. But anyway, we're consolidating right above this support level now. So we've kind of come back in and mostly confirmed this as support. The market might want to come down here and touch this and get a good retest. I don't know. But we're looking very bullish. A lot of people are going to be clamoring about this pi cycle cross. Well, I think the pi cycle cross is going to be broken. I mean, remember, this was developed in retrospect. So in looking back at what was a good indicator that grabbed the top of the last couple cycles, it was developed after the fact, not before, coming into the last bull market. And I think the fact of asset inflation due to the M2 money supply expansion, easy monetary policy is probably going to break a lot of these indicators. And here's where I come up with here. I look at remember early on I did a lot of videos about I was going to be watching the 120-day moving average. I was going to be measuring separation from the 120-day and trying to sell when we separated a good percentage from the 120-day and then buy back when we touched the 120-day. Well, we ended up touching the 50-day and then resuming both times. And so this seems to be the new level for this market so far. Now, at some point, we still very well might come back and touch the 120 on a big wick down, shakeout, sell off before we go, possibly right before we go vertical, actually, which would be super interesting. But as long as we stay above the 50, I remain bullish, and I'll keep taking entries on the long side here. Now, I said in another video, or I said on a live stream, that when we break down below the 50, if we break down below the 50, come back to test it as a resistance, and then break down, when we get the confirmation of the breakdown, I will probably get positioned defensively, get some buy the dip funds, and be looking to buy the dip at the 120. But for now, we're well above the 50. And the reason I bring that up with relation to the pi cycle is if in the history of Bitcoin, it typically has once we start the bull market, it has convincingly broke to the upside of the 120-day moving average, and it stays above it with a few touches of the 120-day, or some traders use a 21-week moving average. I prefer the 120-day simple moving average as opposed to the 21-week exponential moving average. But nonetheless, you can see here the touch of the 50 days are nearly perfect. It came right into it and then bounced right off of it both times. So as long as we stay above that, this is going to break. The pi cycle is basically based on simple moving averages. And so if the simple moving averages that worked in the past don't work anymore, that means that an indicator based on simple moving averages that worked in the past is not going to work anymore as well. Now, however, when this does cross, it might be a reasonable time to look to be a little bit defensive, maybe take profit on some trades, just in case other traders come in and take a lot of profit. I'll be doing that probably. I'm rebuilding up my long entries right now after getting out during this consolidation. And when this crosses, I might just take a little bit of profit and start to shave, move my stop losses to break even. That way on trades, I'm not losing ground on trades if a bunch of retail traders, end up seeing this news and selling. That might be a good buy the dip opportunity. So if we're well positioned when that crosses, hopefully we can take advantage of any dips. But I highly believe that this is not going to be the end of the bull run. You can see the price action. It's not really indicative of a blow off top at this point at all. This back here was a much larger move, and then maybe even this one here. Ultimately, in these two, but we've had some pretty good pullbacks and a good amount of consolidation here. So this is not really a blow off top in any shape or form as of right now. Now, looking at my primary 12-hour charts here, let's just go through the main pairs real fast, and I'll just tell you what I'm seeing. So I've got my Heath levels identified here. So Heath from Trade Talk, if you're wondering who that is. He's a fantastic trader for finding good levels intraday, intra-week, and he uses these to scalp trade and then hold trades when they're profitable. But we can also use these levels to help increase our accuracy on our entries as well. So I've mapped out several levels that Heath helped me identify. And you can see here that we're coming now into potentially this little bit of consolidation top here. And when we break that, the next move after breaking around 1870, it looks like here on my chart too. Let me make this line bigger for you guys. Around 1870, I think that we're going to see a much bigger move on Ethereum if we can break and hold that. Cardano is actually looking especially bullish. This bottom trend line that I have here is holding strong. We're just now coming out of possibly some consolidation. As you can see here on all my charts, I've got alerts on most of them anyway. I've got alerts set up for me to look to take entries when these alerts cross. And I'm looking to take, I have small entries on. I'm looking to add another entry as we cross these lines here and get some resumption. Now, Polkadot's a little bit more concerning, but what's interesting to me is that I have this prime trend line here, and then we broke down below that prime trend line. However, we've been holding this really key support level. If I go over here to the daily, you can see that we held there, and then we snapped it and broke back. So if we can take back that support level and close above it, then I believe we can get bullish again. And another reason I say that is if I clone this trend line, you can see that this move is largely in line with that same general uptrend. So we may come back to so if I put this down here at the very bottom of these two wicks, we may come back to this before breaking through there. But I think we've just fallen out of this range. This is some really good consolidation here. We've had a very strong move on Polkadot. And some other projects, namely Ethereum and maybe Cardano, are getting a little bit more hype right now. Cardano getting ready to roll out Goguen, and Ethereum with a flurry of bullish news for them between the Visa news. EIP 1559 is coming. Layer 2 scaling. Now, Optimism got delayed a little bit, but it's still coming. It's going to be here very shortly. So Ethereum, there's a lot of bullish news. So I think that put a little bit of a dent. And then also Sell the News event for Akala getting the first parachain slot there that we talked about in a live couple of live videos. Now, Chainlink, you'll see I've got two different sets of uptrend trend lines here. I think we're staying above. This is kind of an important one. We stayed above that. That's really ultimately what I'm watching. I had this light blue one in here as well because I connected these touches. And you can see we've kind of started to retake that. So what I'm looking for is for us to break to the upside of these two patterns here. And if we can hold this support level I've got identified here and maybe break above and retake this very parabolic trend line, we should get a pretty nice move. We'll be coming into some resistance there at right around 32. But Link has been consolidating more than most, and I think he could see a really big move at some point. Now, he's been underperforming, so I don't know if the hype that might be coming for Link is not going to be enough to get it to really to move. But it's been consolidating quite a bit, and it's lagging its peers quite a bit. So I do believe it's in line for a bigger move. And let me just show you something here on the Link BTC chart. You can see I had this general uptrend, and we're consolidating very well down here on this Link to Bitcoin chart. So I'm anticipating a big breakout on Link before too long. So if you're holding Chainlink, don't be too concerned about its underperformance. It's definitely setting up to possibly really break out big here pretty soon. You can see that this bottom trend line is going to come into play very soon. We've got a confluence of support versus Bitcoin. And if it breaks out versus that, it can move really big, especially on the fiat USD charts. Steller, very similar pattern to Polkadot. I think and what's interesting is, Steller should have had a little bit of boon with the USDC news and the Visa news, but it didn't move as much as you might thought it would have. It's in this no man's land area right here for me. When it breaks above that 42 level, then I'll be interested in putting on trades. For now, I'm watching it closely for the next trade. I did have a trade on Litecoin, but I tell you guys, I'm really fast to take profit in a Litecoin. So I took profit coming into this resistance here right at 200. So my trade was on back here in the 180s after we broke out of this downtrend trend line here. If I go back to the 12-hour, you'll see my entry down there. That was my last entry. I didn't re-enter on this entry. Rather, I took profit into this resistance here, and I'm looking now for the next setup on Litecoin. Litecoin is especially interesting to me. Now, you guys know I'm not too bullish on Litecoin long term, but the reason I like playing Litecoin versus the USDC is you can see here, obviously Litecoin's been just getting beat down versus Bitcoin. It's in a terrible downtrend, and this should continue. However, we've been in this channel, and as long as we continue to ping pong around this channel, we continue to get moments of bounce and then get rejection. You can see here lately we've been getting more rejection here, this level, than over here or way up here. But so what I do is whenever we're coming into the very bottom here, if I see a concurrence of us coming into the bottom of this channel and a setup on the USDC chart, I take that trade because a lot of times it likes to bounce from here to the midpoint of this channel perhaps, and you take profit. So that's pretty much what we did here recently. It bounced and then it got rejected pretty hard right here actually. So we'll keep an eye on Litecoin. I think it's a very good trade. I do want to bring up another one that's breaking out for me here. The graph, I think, is looking like it might make a really big move here. Broke out of this consolidation just above this support, and we'll see here it actually this is probably a pretty valid CTM entry right now. Now this is again not financial advice, banned by the river, but that's the trade setup I'd be looking at, and I may actually look to take something here after this video. Another one that I think is coiling up for a move is Loopring. You can see here it's been on this terrible downtrend, consolidating here at the bottom. It may just flatline and kind of ping pong here. We're in no man's land right now as far as trades go on it. As soon as we break above this let's call it 1,000 level roughly, Satoshis versus Bitcoin, and we might be ready to make a move here. And just real fast, I'm gonna give you guys a quick recap of some trades that some of my top cryptos for 2021, the small caps. And I brought out API 3 in my video, and I talked about API 3 when it was $2.40 roughly, and it is now $8. So that has performed exceptionally well. You see here another one that's performed exceptionally well. We were talking about VeChain for a big run right around 2 cents, and now it's up to almost 10 cents. Another one is Engine, which we were talking about again down here at 56 cents or 60 cents or so, and we've made a big run up to $2.50, all the way up to $3 actually. And the last one, I don't have a good trading view chart for this particular one, but VXV, Vector Space AI, was rounded out the fourth of my 100x potential cryptos for 2021, and we put that video out when it was at a price of right around, I believe, 20 cents USD, maybe as high as 25 cents USD, and since we've gone on a run to $2.50. So all four of my 100x potential coins for 2021 have performed exceedingly well. Just wanted to bring that out because I am working on another one. So we have another 4 to 5 coins that I'm going to be putting a video out here very soon, so watch for that. All right, guys, that's all the updates I had for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate the support. Take care.